as a country, we move forward better when we're all doing better. And when you look at a community classification for engagement, you see how an institution integrates itself in a community and teaches its students that they are part of a larger system.
Welcome to Being the Change, the official podcast of James Madison University, brought to you by Madison Magazine. Each episode brings you stories of how members of the JMU community combine intellect with action to live lives of purpose and meaning. That's being the change.
What's up, JMU? Andy Perrine here. Welcome to Being the Change. Today we're spotlighting a remarkable milestone for the university. JMU is just one of 9 universities nationwide honored with both the Carnegie Leadership for Public Purpose and the Carnegie Community Engagement classifications. Now, you may not know what Carnegie is. It is an organization that basically creates a taxonomy for universities. Like we're a R2 university, a Research 2 university. UVA and Virginia Tech are R1 universities. Carnegie is the group that establishes these distinctions. And JMU has gained these 2 distinctions from Carnegie, the Leadership for Public Purpose and Community Engagement classifications. And again, we're only one of 9 universities in the country, and that's from over 3,500 universities nationwide. So it's a huge deal. It really is. And I also think it's incredibly expressive of who we are as an institution. And we've got 3 guests with us, and these 3 guests are the ones responsible for helping the university to accomplish this incredible distinction. Kim Davidson, she's the Director of Community Engagement and the Volunteer Center at JMU. Kim, welcome.
Thank you.
And Brandy Duncan, she's Director of Federal Relations and Communications in the Division of Research, Economic Development, and Innovation, which we call READY.
Thank you.
Brandy, welcome. And Margaret Sloan, she's a professor and Director of the School of Strategic Leadership Studies. Margaret, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I kind of set the stage, but because you all are the experts, I'm going to have you unpack what these distinctions mean and how we got here. So, Margaret, I'm going to start with you. Can you tell us what the Carnegie Elective Classification for Leadership for Public Purpose is, what it recognizes, and why it matters?
Yeah, I'd love to, and I'm really excited to have this opportunity to be here with Brandy and Kim and talk about these joint designations. So the Leadership for Public Purpose really is just an opportunity for institutions to highlight the unique character and culture of the institution that creates leaders and the unique ways that institutions do that. So within our classification, we were able to highlight multiple things. Obviously, we have been about change leadership for many, many years here at JMU, and we were able to think about what is it that is the unique JMU character of leadership, which we defined as leader development, citizenship, ethical reasoning, and innovation. And so those are the 4 pillars upon which we got to share the story of JMU and how we make change leaders.
And one of the remarkable things about these Carnegie distinctions is that to apply to gain these recognitions, you have to go through an extensive self-study and really understand why you fit into this distinction. So it was a remarkable exercise to go through to discover, wow, we really do have this leadership for public purpose orientation. Tell us a little bit about what you discovered and how it changed your opinion about who we are.
Well, this classification year, Leadership for Public Purpose, was the first time they had ever had an application open for it. And so JMU was in that inaugural group of 25 schools across the nation who achieved it the first year. And it's really because that's who we are from the beginning. And there were 85 different individuals and units across campus who provided data to support thinking about the way that we have 14 plus different programs for students, for faculty and staff that focus on developing our leadership capacities. But we also have embedded programming like the deliberative dialogue that happens in civic engagement. The community engagement work is part of that, as well as our long-standing ethical reasoning and action, which is a signature program for the institution. So all of those things were able to coalesce, and it gave us the opportunity to really see how all of these things are happening across campus, across disciplines, across different stakeholders, and to bring that story together in a really holistic way and share it. So it was really exciting to see the many, we knew it was happening,
right,
but the self-study enabled us to see where and how it's happening and to what degree, and just affirmed so much about who we are as an institution.
Well, and Dr. Sloan and I talked extensively as she was preparing the self-study and the application, and being the change actually was a theme in it. So it's almost as if we've got a data-based affirmation that being the change is really what we're about.
Yep, absolutely, and have been for 20 plus years.
Kim and Brandy, I'll now turn it over to you, because you both were sort of co-leading this renewal. We've had the distinction of Carnegie Community Engagement classification in the past, but every 10 years you have to renew it. So this was a renewal for us. Kim, why don't you start? Give us a little bit of perspective of why this is important and how it's descriptive of who we are.
Yes, this is a reclassification, and this was 6 years. I think they changed it from 10 to 6. And so it was a look not just at what we are doing, but how we have enhanced that work, embedded it more deeply over the last 6 years.
So they wanted to see improvement.
So they wanted to see not just what we were doing, but how it has changed and improved, become more pervasive, more integrated into the institution.
Brandy, from your perspective, and especially now that you're our representative to the federal folks on the Hill, what does this mean for your ability to express yourself up on the Hill when you're dealing with legislators and saying that JMU is really making a difference?
So I think it's twofold, Andy. On one hand, what we're seeing is a look at the American community and areas where there are greater needs, rural healthcare, students who might have disabilities, people in less privileged communities, because as a country we move forward better when we're all doing better. And when you look at a community classification for engagement, you see how an institution integrates itself in a community and teaches its students that they are part of a larger system. Like, you're not just a part of JMU's campus. You're not just in Harrisonburg. You're also a member of the community that your parents live in when you go back home. You're going to be a member and a leader in the community that when you graduate that you move to. And I have seen incredible positive feedback from staffers who we meet on the Hill about the quality of our graduates. Like, we are producing stellar citizens.
You mentioned the fact that when each of us does better, we all do better.
Yes.
You know, there's a misconception that raising up some people is a zero-sum game for others. It's really not the case.
No, absolutely not. You can't have one without the other. It's reciprocal.
That's amazing. Now, thanks for giving us the background on both of those distinctions. So why, and Margaret, I'll send it to you first. Why do you think it's significant that both of these now are representing JMU among only 9 other institutions in the country?
I think it just continues to speak to the unique character historically, as well as just the lives that faculty, staff, students are leading daily here at the institution. So it's that deep commitment that it's not something that we just decided, here's something gold and shiny that we're going to go after. It really is about the lived experience of what it means to be a part of the JMU community.
And Kim, you're with students all the time in your role. How do you see this as really manifesting itself in the way that students engage on campus and then within the community and then beyond as they become alumni?
think it's amazing to see students' transformation. Oftentimes, their first connection in the community is through a course. And we support many faculty and departments in connecting a community opportunity with the course content. And at first, sometimes students are reluctant, and then they are able to go and connect with a senior citizen or a student or somebody with disabilities, and they develop a really profound relationship, and they are able to see themselves and the world in a different way. And that is why the work is so meaningful. They are able to have a hands-on experience that fleshes out the course content in a way that a reading never would. And so simultaneously, we are helping to reach community goals, as well as have students learn and gain from it. And that's sort of the power of community engagement for an institution and for a community in which it lives.
Well, and you see it every day on the ground. You know, one of the things that we talk about all the time in our office, both professionally and personally, is how technologies are really changing experiences in a lot of ways. And it seems to me that a lot of students have, you said that at first they're somewhat reluctant. Having experiences in real life, IRL, as the young people say, is a really necessary part of becoming an adult. Can you give us some examples of how these kinds of real life experiences open their eyes to, as you say, who they are and who they're supposed to be?
I'm just thinking of work that we've been doing with rural communities and how we have brought students who are coming from very urban centers who have never been in a small community before. So we're taking them to Stanley and other small population pockets.
Stanley's a small town in Virginia.
Right. Yeah. And they say things like, wow, I had no idea that these were the kinds of environments that people are living in, or these are the problems that they might face that are different from where I grew up. And so that's just one small experience. But I know you've got people doing that all the time.
Yeah, Kim, as the director of all the volunteer stuff, you're seeing kids getting their minds blown every day, right?
Yeah, it's why I do this work. Yeah. We have students who, for example, were assigned to work with a senior center, had never had experience with older adults before, and developed such strong relationships and respect for the work that they were able to change their major to gerontology. Or students who are working with children who come from an immigrant or refugee background that didn't understand the scope of our global crisis around displacement, and are able to shift their work to have a social work focus that incorporates immigrants. Or other examples that are not as typical are partnerships with like sports and recreation management. You know, they are working with populations that maybe they thought that they weren't going to work with, and all of a sudden they're able to see their profession in a way that is slightly different than what they anticipated, and their world grows. And those that they are connecting with also are able to share and deepen their learning in a way that's beneficial for everybody.
You mentioned our student athletes. I mean, it's required of them to have some of these experiences as part of their deal with being an athlete. That's got to open some of their eyes to a whole new way of being, I'm sure.
And they also experience leader development training in athletics, which again, there's such an integration across the experience. It's iterative and it's holistic. There's a synergy across all of these different kinds of experiences that I think ends up with results that are greater than any one of them would have had alone.
Absolutely.
I think that's when you talk about the distinguishing characteristic of our graduates, why they are actually change agents in their communities or wherever they find themselves.
And this is something that employers tell us that they want to see in the new people that they hire. And according to a new study by the AAC&U, the American Association of Colleges and Universities, the study is called the Agility Imperative. And hiring directors are now in their 30s and 40s. And these are people that were brought up with the understanding that citizenship is important and being a citizen within an organization is important. Brandy, I'd love to ask you, you're in the Division of Research, Economic Development, and Innovation. How important is delivering that kind of talent to the community in terms of economic development?
Oh, it's incredibly important. I'd like to touch on a focus of President Jim's, and it's that JMU is a preferred partner, and a preferred partner at every level. Right? We want you to want to work with our graduates because we think our graduates are among the best in the state of Virginia, if not in the country. Virginia is also, what have we been, like the number one in terms of business?
Yeah, we lost it
like
recently.
A business salt in the wound. Well, I demand a recount of that. No, but in all seriousness, Virginia offers a lot economically. We are also close to Washington, D.C., and JMU is producing amazing students. And so for me, what we're seeing is the perfect convergence of being able to tap into what is needed in our Commonwealth, in our country right now, and be sure that our students, our graduates, our faculty, our staff, that they are in alignment with the needs of now and then the future of tomorrow. A lot of this work, academics, research, economic innovation and development, this is not an overnight success. These are seeds that are planted and nurtured and grow, and then we see them and they become significant parts of our institution and our culture within a few years.
Yeah.
So that's where we are.
That's amazing. Well, one of the things that, I'll mention this report again, the Agility Imperative, one of the things that the report focused on was they used to be called soft skills, but now they're called power skills. I don't know if everybody likes that. It sounds like power tools. But these are the kinds of skills that will not be replaced by artificial intelligence. And I think this is exactly what we're talking about. So we're creating a graduate who is agile and whose career will be sustainable because they've got skills that others don't. From your perspective, Brandy, how do you see that as a distinction?
A distinction of our students.
Yeah, and the university being able to turn out that kind of talent.
Oh, I think it's amazing. We've heard President Jim, not to keep referencing President Jim, but he is a great advocate for what makes our students special. He has shared that employers have come to him discreetly and said, we really prefer your students. They're doing an amazing job. We teach them from day one that they are a part of a larger system. So not only do they know that there's no proverbial I in team, right? That old adage, there's no I in team. So our students know that, but they also become aware of the community around them. They become aware through, for instance, Kara Dillard's, the Madison Civic Center for Engagement.
Sure. Why
it matters that you know how to approach something with curiosity rather than shutting down or being aggressive if you don't agree with it. And that is now a part of our curriculum and our culture here. And shout out to Kara Dillard because she was also a part of our committee.
One of the things that the Better Dialogues program, I think, can help produce in the same vein of thinking is that a lot of students, because they are walking around with what I like to call a certainty engine in their pocket, anything that you don't know or don't understand, you can pretty much find out pretty quickly with your phone. And so there's an increased uncomfortable feeling for walking into something that you aren't certain is going to happen. I hear all the time, my kids are 26 and 28, that there's a lot of kids their age who don't know how to talk to other people because they've been hiding behind their technology or enabling their reality with the technology. How important do you think these two distinctions combined are in helping to combat or at least redirect those kinds of fears of the unknown? Kim, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, hugely. have students put their phones down and go and engage with humans. It's a big part of what we do.
Right.
And they're building those essential skills, and then they realize how enjoyable it is
Yeah.
and how much better they feel.
Yeah.
One of our signature programs is Madison Community Scholars, which enables students who receive federal work study awards to use those awards and earn that money with community partners. And so they're placed in jobs that's being paid for through their awards, and the community organizations are hosting them. They gain from having another employee, but the students are gaining all sorts of leadership and work-based learning experiences that oftentimes not only are benefiting the community, but are helping them reach their academic and professional goals. And they love it as a work placement and a way to gain those skills.
You just mentioned the buzzword work-based learning, or as they say in shorthand, Weebles. There's a huge interest in that being an essential component to every student's experience, not just the outgoing kids or the kids who are in a program where it's required. From all three of your perspectives, how important do you think that real-world experience is to bringing the curriculum alive? Margaret, I'll start with you.
I think it's essential because we practice and then we perform out in the world. And when you're thinking about work-based learning, they do help assuage that fear of the unknown. Also, I'm thinking in terms of the Leadership for Public Purpose designation, when we think about citizenship training, Brandy had mentioned the Madison Center for Civic Engagement and the training that our students are getting in dialogue across difference. Somebody can be unknown to you, and they may be very different from you, but they learn a way to engage with that person and to have a conversation with that person, to strip away some of that unknown so we can connect. That also happens, we're training them with ethical reasoning, right? That's another way to mitigate the unknown, because that is a process by which students can learn to ask a specific set of questions about whatever they're facing to help them analyze the situation and to help them make a better decision than they would have because they've thought about the alternatives. So it's these mechanisms that are embedded within the curriculum and the co-curricular activities that are giving students a chance to practice these skills so that when they're faced with something that they don't know, they've got processes by which they can figure it out. So it's part of developing the problem-solving skills, which is another one of those power skills that our students have in abundance.
And the uncertainty doesn't frighten them.
Well, uncertainty frightens all of us, right, to a certain degree. But
frightens them less.
Frightens them less because you've got a mechanism that you can engage with the world in a meaningful way without that fear.
Go ahead, Kim.
And part of the pedagogy of community engaged learning has that reflection component built in. So if there is uncertainty or there are questions, there are spaces for them to discuss and to think about them together so that when they go back and act again, they have that deeper understanding.
All right, so this has been incredibly fascinating, and thank you so much for bringing your expertise to this conversation. Going forward, we're right in the middle of a strategic planning process at the university, and President Jim has been emphasizing, as you say, Brandy, that he wants the university to be a preferred partner on every level in the community, in the region, in the Commonwealth, nationally, internationally. How do these two distinctions combined give us the ability to express ourselves as that preferred partner to other entities? Brandy, why don't you start?
Sure. Well, I would like to talk about how we are already being seen as a cross-Commonwealth partner. Recently Merck is going to break ground on a $3 billion Center for Excellence in Elkton here in our region.
Huge.
Huge. Yeah. That's not a small number, which will provide a lot of employment and will provide a lot of jobs for JMU graduates.
And we have a relationship with Merck in terms of training, and it's been for years.
Yes. And then in addition to that, former Governor Youngkin, there was a biopharma MOU between, I think it was 4 public universities
Right.
and then a few community college systems here within the Commonwealth. And
Right.
guess who was at the table? JMU.
Yeah.
This is going to create a pharmaceutical corridor in Virginia. So we are no longer this really charming, morally driven rural university from 100 years ago, which what a wonderful start and what a wonderful foundation and compass to guide ourselves with. But we're now taking those values and taking them even further and even broader. And we're being seen by our state leader, by other institutions across the state. And to me, leadership for public purpose, community engagement, we're creating people and having a compass that guides us north into continuing to lead and grow and expand and help change the face of our state, if not our country, in time.
That's lovely. You mentioned us already being seen as a leader in this area. Margaret, I remember, I think it was Time Magazine, or was it Newsweek?
No, it was Time.
It was Time
that put
Magazine.
JMU on the list of 100 best colleges for future leaders.
That's awesome.
And that was their inaugural putting out the list, the first time they did it, and we were among the top 100. I think we were in the 70s or something, and it came out right about the time that we got the Leadership for Public Purpose
Right,
distinction.
it predated the designation, so
right.
it wasn't
Oh,
as
that's
if they
fantastic.
said, "Oh, look here, the Leadership for Public Purpose institutions." It
Right.
was we were already doing it.
So we're not making it up. Well, thank you so much, all three of you. This has been wonderful and really right up the middle of what we try to say Being the Change is all about. Kim Davidson, Brandy Duncan, Margaret Sloan, I really thank all three of you for being on the podcast. And as this evolves, I hope you come back.
Oh, have us back. This was great.
Okay.
Thanks,
It would be
Andy.
fun. We love to talk about
Thank
being
you
the
so
change.
much. We do.
Terrific. Yeah, me too. All right, listeners, remember, if you've got an idea for an episode or you just want to be in touch, you can reach us at beingthechange@jmu.edu. Until next time, go Dukes.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe to hear more stories about how members of the JMU community are being the change. Dive deeper and explore countless other stories at jmu.edu/Madison Magazine. Go Dukes!
The Being the Change podcast was conceived by Jim Heffernan, editor of Madison Magazine, and me, Andy Perrine, head of JMU Marketing. Thanks to Jenna Polk and her team at the Rose Library Studios, where the show is recorded by Cody Troyer, Steve Adderton, and Olive Santos, all of the crazy talented JMU photo video team, who then produced the final episodes at the Ice House in downtown Harrisonburg. Original music by 2019 alumnus Neil Perrine. You can find the Being the Change podcast on all the popular platforms where we hope you'll like, share, and subscribe.